give me your name, your age, and your occupation?
I'm Kevin, I'm 33, and I'm currently a finance manager.
Okay, so is that something you've always wanted to work in, crunching the numbers?
So I was never really a business finance person when I was growing up. My parents are both engineers, and they really were like, you're either going to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And I was like, okay, what's
None of the above.
No, yeah, I was like, what's the least amount of school? And they said, probably an engineer. So I was like, okay, what's the easiest engineer? And they said civil engineer. So I was a civil engineer for a little bit.
Wow.
And then I was like, I just can't work in AutoCAD and drawings all day. Like, it's not my vibe.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a people person and I like talking. So I went into business, and then now I'm in finance. So
Wow.
just kind of pivoted careers.
So what does that involve for you? Is it managing assets or?
Yeah, so I work for a tech company, so it's forecasting, budgeting, return on investments. We have product launches, and I'm the guy who always crunches the numbers and is like, is this good? Like, can we make money off this?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like so much of that is probably forecasting trends, trying to look ahead, and not to say you should be trying to predict too much about what this game is going to throw you, but from a strategic perspective, I'm sure there's a lot of applicable stuff, right? Of like, if I make this decision now, how's that investment going to pay off on day 26?
That's exactly right. I mean, even before the game has started, I've already been calculating, like, there's 18 people on the cast. There's probably no way that the 3 muscleheads that are on the beach are going to be in the same tribe. So, like, how do we break up the tribe? So it's about, like, making sure, like, there's a like a stereotypical muscle meathead shield. Then there's, like, a really smart, kind of like middle-sized person like me. Then there's, like, the really skinny, like, athletic girl who's like killing it in all sports. So when I was doing all the permutations and combinations, I'm like, okay, here's other people who I can probably interact with and maybe most likely will be on the beach with me.
Well, then let's talk about what brought you out to this assessment perspective in the first place. Why Survivor for you?
Yeah. I always watched Survivor when I was younger. However, growing up, my parents, since they're both immigrants from Hong Kong, they worked really, really hard to get themselves through college. They had to work like 2-3 jobs just to get by, pay themselves through college just for me and my brother to have a successful career or just even a better life. And growing up, my parents both had to work on weekends and even late nights. So I was put in the after-school programs a lot. And nothing bad about after school programs, but I always wished that I could, play sports after school. Or I always would see parents pick up their kids and they're going to, like, I don't know, some extracurricular activity, and I would either walk home or take the school bus home. And I just always was like, man, how come I'm so different? Like, I want to experience things and I want to try new things, but I'm just either brought up differently or just don't have the same opportunities. One night, my parents also are really strict on TV because they wanted me to do well in school.
Right.
So they're like, you can either watch the news when I'm watching it. I was like, but it's in Chinese and I can't even understand it.
Yeah, plus, like, you're how many years old? You're like, yes, I need
10.
to sit down and watch the news. Great.
Yeah. So I watched the news with them, and then I would do homework. And my dad would watch it my dad would watch TV downstairs, and my mom is upstairs, kind of like getting ready for bed because she has to sleep so early. Yeah. And she'd be like, "No TV," and I'm like, "Okay, like no TV." And then one night, I just heard like the intro sound to Survivor Australia, and my dad was actually asleep, and it was like the da 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 da, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" So I actually went downstairs to turn off the TV for my dad, but when I went there, I was encapsulated because I saw Colby Donaldson and Jerry, and I was like, "Wait, something's happening." And then I had to silence it because I was afraid my mom was gonna hear it.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "What's happening? Why is there fire? Like, why is someone jumping in the water?" And that's kind of how I first saw Survivor. As I watched it many seasons because my mom would do the same. It's the same ritual. She'd go to sleep. I would go downstairs, watch it without any noise, and not understand what a tribal council was. I didn't know what
Wait, so were there any subtitles? Or are you just
no subtitles?
So you're just watching it without any audio?
No audio.
I mean, do you know how to read lips now at this point? Are you studying in it?
I should, honestly. But I just noticed, like, people were, talking together.
Yeah.
There's all these, like, different tribe names, and then they would go to tribal council, and then I always remember one person would leave, and I'm like, okay, this is a vote someone out kind of situation. And it wasn't until I was in high school where I was able to watch Yul Kwon season 13, Cook Islands. Yeah. And when I first saw Yul Kwon and the Puka Puka tribe, I was like, oh my gosh, like, someone like me looks, like they're on the tribe and they're doing so well. Like, they're not the stereotypical smart person. Like, Yul is not just smart, he's strategic, he's athletic, he's social. And I was like, this is someone that I aspire to be like. And I was like, wow, I would love to one day be on Survivor, but I don't have that, physical aspect of, like Yul or anybody else to make it out here alive. So I spent many years trying to bulk up and gain a lot of weight. So I'm like, okay, I'm smart. That's like one part.
Yeah.
And I'm social because I love to talk to people, but I lack the physical aspect. So I think I'm ready now.
Yeah, so you talk about your long history with Survivor, be it non-verbal or verbal. I mean, you shout out the freaking Puka tribe, which is like a deep, deep cut. Yeah. So if you could pick one winner and one non-winner, who you identify with the most, is Yul in that category? Are there other people you're picking?
So Yul is in that category just because of representation.
Yeah.
But I don't fit my personality. Me and him are totally different. He's methodical. He weighs out options. He's more quieter. I'm just kind of chaotic and a little bit disheveled. Some of my friends call me chaotic friendly. So I love to smile.
What an alignment. What an alignment.
I love to laugh, but sometimes I just like my brain is like firing at all cylinders of my thoughts. So I would like to say that I really like the David tribe for David and Goliath. That's actually the reason why I started applying like consistently after watching David and Goliath.
Really?
Because I was like, oh, there's Davids. Like I feel like a David.
Yeah.
I feel like a David, and there are people here who aren't the best at one thing. They're just here to prove themselves and to show like that they didn't have to grow up. I grew up really skinny, really small. I had glasses, braces, was made fun of at school for like not being good at sports or just like other things. And I just tried really hard to get like I don't want to feel that way ever again. So I'm at this tribe. Not so Christian, Davey, Nick. The David tribe itself is someone that I really like to be, and also Caleb from season 45. He's someone that I was like, okay, he's a social player. He's a smiley guy. So I'd love to play like him, but not be too much like him because I think he was perceived a threat really early on.
What's your favorite moment in Survivor history?
My favorite moment, I mean, going back to season 37, when they used their advantages together.
Yeah, the whole, like, John Hennigan minority vote split stuff.
Minority vote split. The Goliath just sounded so confident. They thought they had this in the bag. Dan had 2 idols. I mean, I also really like the Goliaths, too, like Alec and Dan and everyone. But the Davids just banded together. They trusted each other. And it was multiple idols. It was an idol nullifier. Yeah. It was like a steal a vote. And then it was just like, and I liked how, I forgot the one guy, he was like, bing.
Carl,
Like, right when, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I could be on the island, I would rally the misfits together and we would join together and be like, let's take down these big guns because there's some pretty big people here on the island right now.
So interesting. Yeah, so from your own perspective, what's one life experience you think has prepared you for this, considering how long you've been watching for?
Yeah. Something interesting that it might not look like just from me, but after I started working out and kind of I changed my hair, I got better skin. I just was like, I want to look better.
You sheathed all that yourself?
Yeah, I sheathed all that myself. I actually was recruited by Abercrombie to be a greeter / model in their front store in California, and I was like, this is better than getting an MBA. This is better than graduating college. Just I don't care about any of those things. Working at Abercrombie is the highlight of my life because I was like,
that is. Yeah. I think we need to like bottle that and like paint it at the front of their store now.
Yeah, because I was like, oh wow, what a success story. Like I cannot believe like I never thought that I would be even working at Abercrombie to begin with, like someone like that looks like me or just like has a vibe or just but then the manager was like, okay, your job is to charm people, like make people feel like $1 million when they come in the store, like recommend different items, say this looks great, do that, be hospitable, be friendly. That really trained me really well to talk to so many people and charm their socks off. And I feel like that's kind of how it got me in life. Like I got through MBA. I was #1 in my class.
Oh my God.
I work in tech now, like a really big tech company, working there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of it is how to charm people. Like it is smiling, make them feel like they're like $1 million, talk to them about what they like, ingratiate myself in like their life, be a family member, like just like that kind of stuff. And I think that's gonna help me in this game.
Would you say that's like your biggest superpower from your life that you're bringing into the show?
I think so. I think that bringing in the socialness and characteristics of smiling, laughing, charming. Also, there's another part of me that has a lot of grit, and that's because when I was like I said, when I was younger, I really wanted to play sports. And my dad was like, okay, let's play tennis. Like basketball, football, and baseball were out of the question. I was like 4'5", so there's no way, and like very small. And my parents were like, you just can't compete with the boys. So tennis is like one of the few things that doesn't require. It's not height isn't the only thing to win. So my dad was like, okay, let's try tennis. And he noticed that even though I was small, I had a lot of work ethic. I had a lot of drive to win. So my first tournament that I played at, and this is kind of going into why I want to do Survivors, because the first tournament I attended, I was 12 years old, and I played kids that were 6 feet tall, and I was like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like, how are these kids so huge? And it was at a country club. I went in there, and me and my dad felt like outcast immediately. I didn't have a tennis bag. I didn't have like nice outfits. I didn't have good shoes. I just had a racket that my dad got for me at, I think, Target or Big Five, and I just felt so out of place. And we would get looks, and people would look at us, and they would snicker. They would say like, "Oh, like you're playing my son? Like that's not right. Like, are you sure you're not in the 10 category or the 8?" And my dad just told me, he's like, "Don't listen to these people. Like you,
show them they're wrong.
Show them you're wrong, and like it's okay that you're not, the biggest person or strongest person, but you have grit. You can run fast." And I think that moment when I saw my dad, he was watching me from the sidelines. He wouldn't even watch with the parents because he didn't want to, interact with them, and he didn't want to get looks from them. So he would watch from the side. And I remember I actually won that tournament against those people. And I looked to my dad and I gave him a fist pump, and I was like, "Dad," and he was like, you can do anything.
Oh my God.
So I think if I go on Survivor, I am going on Survivor. I really want to like win a challenge and like do a fist pump, and it'll be for my dad and say like, yeah.
Oh, that kills me. I love that. That's a beautiful story. So now moving to the other end, what is your biggest piece of kryptonite, you think?
Okay, my biggest piece of kryptonite is fairly obvious. I'm not that outdoorsy. I love to backpack and I love to hike, but that's about it. I mean, I do care about how I look. I want to make sure my hair is like done every morning. I want to like do all that. I'm like, okay, this island, it is not the place for that.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, "Jeff, can we trade in a flint for a mirror? Yeah. Like, I need to like take a look at myself right now."
Yeah, it's like, well, everyone's gonna be idol hunting. I'm gonna be like, hold on, I'm gonna make a gel out of some coconut mash and some seawater, and let me get ready for the day. So I think my biggest kryptonite is honestly surviving. The challenges part, like I'm physically ready. Yeah. I work out. I feel really fit. I also have been fasting quite a bit, so it's like, okay, I can go on a couple days without eating water. But the challenges, the puzzle part, I'm really excited about. The challenges I'm excited about. It's the physical aspect.
It's like the other 23 hours of the day. Yeah.
It's like, how do I survive? But you know what? I got grit, so I'll be able to do this.
And hopefully you have some people maybe on your side that can take care of that stuff for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you build the shelter, I'll sleep in it.
Yeah. You build the shelter, I'll look for an idol, I'll share it with you. This is how it works.
Symbiotic relationship. I mean, speaking of that, I'm sure you've been sitting around making assessments, eyeballing people. Let's start with the positive side here. Describe to me some people that you have great vibes for, that it's like best case scenario, you hit the beach day one, this is a ride or die for me.
Okay. The biggest person that I've already have a good vibe with already is the mom. I think it's I don't want to say elder. She's older. Mm-hmm. She looks like a mom. We're both going for the ranch, and we both grabbed it, and I looked at her, and she's like, oh, and I was like, final three with my eyes.
A literal meet cute.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure I watched a rom-com in the 90s that was like Love Over the Ranch.
Yeah, and she was like, are you gonna use it? And I was like, huh? Oh, sorry. I was trying to like eye her, and I was like, work with me. Like, come on. She was like, what? And I was like, I can't do this. So her I have really good vibes with. I know that there will be one really, really buff musclehead on the beach, like at least on my tribe. There has to be. I can't be the buffest one. There's 3 people that I already see. I call them Captain America, there's Hulk, and then there's Falcon. It's a part of the Avengers, and I'm Spider-Man, so I'm like their friend, but I'm like not.
But you're off doing your own stuff. New York City needs to be pleased.
Yeah, New York City needs to be pleased. I gotta see Zendaya. Like, I'm just Tom Holland right here. But one of those 3 like are gonna be on my tribe no matter what, because there's no way that they can't be. And I've been getting good vibes from them. They're very fit and very athletic. So I've been trying to do like puzzles and brain teasers next to them to be like, hey, like every Batman needs a Robin. Like, like I'm smart, I can do this, but I don't want to show that I'm really smart. Although I think people can probably either assume or maybe they can tell like, okay, this guy's a little bit of a brainiac. So those people I feel good about.
All right, let's go on the other side here. Who are some people that you're maybe not getting some good vibes from, or you can't read at all?
Okay, so overall everyone has like good vibes, but I think the people that are really expressive. So there's some people out here who are already showing leadership qualities. They're like, oh, can I go to the bathroom? Like, oh, like first on the bus, like those kind. I'm like, okay, these people here like know what they want. They're they're assertive. They're not wavering. Like these people are gonna be not hard to work with, but they're just gonna be like the ones I have to look out for, because they're gonna want to make sure that people listen to them, and that they're gonna be dominating like either the conversations and stuff. So for me, I had this game plan already, and I mapped it out. It's called the family tree. Kevin's family tree.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I already wrote down I got like a whole tree, and I'm right here. And everyone that I meet, I'm gonna like make myself a family member to them. So either like if they're older than me, they're my mom, they're my dad. If they're like a little younger to me, they're my little sister, little brother. If they're like really, really talkative, my best friend. So for me, the family tree is going to evolve. I'm gonna make myself a family member to them, and therefore it has some kind of connection, compatibility. I think that would serve really well.
Yeah, and then also, listen, if you're talking from like the top of the tree down, you can lop off some leaves, you can lop off some branches. Much harder to get rid of the trunk or pull up the roots, which you'll be.
Yeah, I'm the root. I gotta play a really strategic game of not being so social, because I think people can already see that I'm kind of smiley and really friendly, which means if I do that with everyone, like, oh, he's just doing that, like he's a threat, because he's actually making the same loyalty and alliance to everyone that they see. So for me, it's all about numbers. I love numbers. I love kind of calculations and logic. 6 people on a tribe. I have to find a meat shield first. So the 2 guys, we have to be together and say like, hey, they're gonna come after us. If we don't stay together, they're gonna come after like the physical threats. Then I gotta find a girl. The girl, to ensure that they don't have a girls' alliance. And if they do have a girls' alliance, I'm the 4th guy here.
Yeah, you're the Charlie.
Yeah, I'm the Charlie. Bring me in here, get the 4th alliance. But if that guy can find a girl and I can find a girl, that's our 4 right here. And we just don't talk that much. We just mingle. We meet. We tell the other 2 like, hey, it's gonna be that person. It's gonna be. But that's how I'm gonna survive the first couple tribals, get through the merge, and I kind of want to go to the merge without a big shield, because when kind of like the season 44 when the Tika 3 came in, they were weak. They were weak and they were disheveled, and Carolyn was off doing whatever, and Karasik was like scheming and plotting everything. But they came in, and the Ratu tribe and the Soka tribe went after each other, and I think that's what I would love to do, is go in, so pre-merge I have to vote out one of the the meat shields.
All right, so you want to go to tribal council pre-merge.
At least once.
Okay.
Yeah, at least once. Because I think going into the merge with 6 people is going to be just death. And they're going to see us, and we're going to get picked off pretty easily, because the other 2 tribes are going to combine and take out us. So I think going into the merge with 4 is ideal.
I have to go back to what you said before about your chaotic mind and how it works. I mean, how is that going to translate for you into the game? Is this just a natural state for you to consistently be running through a bunch of ideas? And how tough is that going to be to, like, focus in on what to do in that moment, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough, because back at home, like, this is crazy that I'm actually out here playing a game that it's not real life, because at home I'm so calculated. Like during MBA, I was voted best negotiator in one of the classes, and one of the reasons
Angelina.
I know, I actually really like Angelina. Even though she played a certain game, I really like Angelina because she came in with confidence.
Absolutely.
She was like, this is how it's done, and then everyone was like, we're voting her out. She's like, I did not know that. And then I also will ask someone for the jacket. I'm very cold at night, so Natalie, I don't know, there's a Natalie out there. I need your jacket.
Well, also, you'd be like, listen, I was an Abercrombie front store person. Like, I can wear it well.
Yeah, absolutely. A dress, skirt, whatever, just give it to me. I won't want to wear it. But the part of negotiation is like, okay, what's the biggest risk and take? And for me, back at home, it's calculated. Like, everything has a benefit and a negative association, but you can make the most calculated risk to where it's the most logical, it has the most benefit, taken well, or it's not taken well because of the fact that there's a lot of cons to it. In this game, I'm so paranoid, and I'm just like a paranoid person in general, that I can't make a calculated risk because I don't know all that information. I'm going to be hearing like random things that people are going to be saying. I'm going to be lying to people, they're going to be lying to me. So for me, that's where it's going to be in my head a lot. Like, I already know I can't sleep that well, like normally. So in my head, up at night, I'm just going to be running these scenarios. I will need someone who's really chill.
Yeah.
Hopefully like a meat shield, or hopefully one of those like bigger guys to be like, hey, like, what do you think? You know, like, calm me down a little bit. Like, what's the scenario plan? So I think someone to help me calm me down, that would be a good alliance member.
So when it comes to probably things that might keep you up at night even more are the ideas of idols, advantages. You know, these are assets, perhaps. How much are you incorporating that into your financial plan for Survivor?
Yeah, honestly, the idols, beware advantages, steal of votes, bank of votes, knowledge is power. All these different advantages play a huge role in my strategy, because you can't come in with a whole game plan. It's not going to work, because someone might have a bank a vote or steal a vote, and then your vote's taken away and your numbers aren't going to work. So for me, I'm going to plan it all out in my mind every day and go and say, like, okay, these are the numbers if no one has an idol or if no one has an advantage. Now, who might have an idol and who might have an advantage? That's where it'll come into play. Okay, if this person might have an idol, then how does this play out? Should we put 1 vote on them to flush it out, or 2 votes on them, and then 2 votes on somebody else to flush out the idol? Like, that's going to be how it works, but I want to be the brainiac of my tribe, but in a very subtle way.
Well, clearly, you're very strategic, as you said, outside of the game. I'm intrigued. What was the cover story you gave to your job? What do they think about what you're doing for the next month?
So they know that I'm out on a month. They said, okay, where are you going? And I was like, I'm just traveling. They're like, where? And I was like, you know, something warm. Like I'm just feeling like, and they're like, you never do this. Like you don't just take vacation ever, and a month is crazy, and also you're not telling me where you're going. And I was like, oh, it's c'est la vie, you know, like time to yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, and then my boss was like, you're way too like neurotic and paranoid, and like you're really good at your job. So what are you doing? And I was like, trust me, I will explain everything later.
Yeah, when I have $1 million.
Yeah. I'll shush you up with a Moscow meal. I will go to a bar, and I'll just be like, you know what? Here's $10. Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They don't know, but I think they have a hint. They're like, are you crazy? Are you doing something insane? And I was like, I am doing something insane. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I feel like the past couple of seasons of the new era have definitely taken things in a different direction, 45, 46. And I'm sure as you were finding out you were coming out here, you probably had one eye on those seasons being like, are there some takeaways I can incorporate into my own game? What were some of those takeaways?
Yeah, so for 45, Austin and D, poor Austin. Also not poor Austin because, you know, he played the game, but Austin fell into showman's, but he trusted people so much that it ruined his own game. I think that right there is knowing, like, for 45, there was Julie, there was D, there was Jake, there was Katura making a mistake of not voting out D in that moment, like, trusting your gut. I think 45, D trusted her gut the entire way, lied to Austin about not you know, telling him about Mama J about the vote. So I think, like, that's where I learned in 45 was like, okay, if you have an instinct, go for it. Do not waver in your emotions. You can waver in your gameplay as the gameplay evolves, but you can't waver in your emotion. Like, if you have a game plan and you're sticking with this person, don't, like, make things, like, crazy and don't try to rock the boat. 46, like, I think this game is going to change a lot for 48 because we all seen 46.
Right.
No one used their idol. So my take is that if someone has an idol, they're going to use it immediately because they're so scared of going home. Now, that is actually, like, reverse psychology because everyone thinks that. And now it's like, okay, now that they think that, let's not vote them out and vote someone else out and make them waste their idol.
I know. It's a little bit of like the Princess Bride, right? It's like using that double, triple, you know, negatives to try to figure it out. So yeah, it's a little bit like metagaming the metagame.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's where all my, like, calculations come into play. And it's kind of crazy because things don't make sense. I'm like, statistically, I'm gonna go out there and be like, what am I doing? You know, like, I need to find someone to talk to. No one's talking to me. Like, but I think in my head, the best way to prepare is to be as, like, laid out as possible, have a game plan going into it, and if things change, it's okay. Like, things will change, it's okay. I'll be left out of a vote. I have to be left out of a vote eventually. I can't be, you know, driving the whole tribe the entire game. I would love that to happen, but I don't know if that will, like, probability-wise happen, but it's okay. Like, just play consistently every day, wake up and say, okay, it's a new game, and just hope for the best. And also, at nighttime, look for idols. Like,
You'll be up anyway.
Yeah, I'll be up. I have a game plan, too.
Okay.
I drink a lot of water naturally because I like to work out, but also just, like, I think, I don't know, I'm just really talkative and always thirsty all the time. So I'm like, okay, great. If I go to the water well a lot, and not because I'm, like, looking for idols or, like, you know, like, talking to someone, I'm just so thirsty.
Yeah.
And my canteen's always empty.
But you're thirsty for something else.
I'm thirsty for some idols. I'm thirsty for some conversations.
Yeah.
So my goal is to keep using the water well as a passageway to be like, water again. Like, here I go. And if someone's like, oh, I'll go with you. I'm like, oh. Okay, like, they're sensing me an opportunity to talk to me, or I'm sensing an opportunity to talk to somebody else, and therefore it could be natural. No one will sense that, like, we're working together.
What is your hottest Survivor take? What would you say is your most controversial opinion about a player or a season or the show in general?
Oh. Well, I don't know if this is controversial because I think Q's polarizing. You either love him or you, like, don't like his gameplay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Liz. You either like Liz because she's so, you know, crazy and chaotic, or you don't like Liz because she does outbursts and blah, or Venus, same thing. Like, Venus, Q. I really like those characters.
Mm-hmm.
I like characters who bring their charm, pizzazz, but also, like, they're not afraid to showcase who they are. And I think for me, like, I play it so safe at home, and I'm just such a normal guy. I really do think I'm just a normal guy. Maybe I'm not, actually, but I think I'm normal back at home. But here, it's like, okay, Kevin, it's time to be diabolical. Like, time to utilize everything that's in your head for, like, the last, like, 10 years. And, like, all the circumstances I've been through in life, like, all the shortcomings and, like, fire, like, use that fire and passion and, like, yeah, play aggressively. Like, play day one. Like, don't be afraid to hold back. So that's my hot take, that people who play hard is not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually like their character, and actually they're very real about that.
So you know how I close out these interviews. If you could bring a celebrity or a fictional character out as a loved one for a loved one's visit, who would it be and why?
Okay, so my favorite tennis player growing up is Maria Sharapova.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's because like her story. She came to America with her dad. With only like her dad only had like $700 in his pocket.
Oh wow.
Worked really hard, and she got to #1 in the world and so successful. So she was like kind of like she's my crush growing up. I really liked her. I had like posters.
Yeah, so you had the poster on the wall.
Yeah, I was like Maria. Wow. I actually named my goldfish after Maria too. So Maria's at home, my goldfish.
Oh nice.
And I would bring the real Maria over here to the island because I just love her tenacity and her grit, and I think she would do well in this game too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the ace she'll serve up in this season because we know that 50's around the corner, and we know it's going to be returnees. How are you going to make your mark in season 48 so that we're going to be talking a year from now back out here?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say, I haven't been thinking about 50 at all, but it really is. It's like, wow, 50 is gigantic opportunity for all the best players to come back. I gotta play like it's the last time I'll ever come out here. I gotta make big moves, and the worst part is like I can't make big moves if I'm not at the end, like towards the end of the game. If I make it towards the beginning, it's gonna be okay. He found an idol, he didn't use it, or he used the idol incorrectly because he was so eager to use the idol so quickly. So for me, it's about getting my personality out. It's about getting my charm, getting people to like me, being social enough, getting it through the merge, and then at the merge, getting enough numbers to play. I want to control the merge at the end.
That's when the family tree grows.
That's when the family tree grows. That's when the apple starts falling, chop this person off, chop that person off, and then at the end, like, I think to make a big move is at 7 or 6. Like, to get you to be returning back at season 50 is 8, 7, and 6 are the times when you really start driving the game. The beginning, it's all about surviving. I am not here to be the biggest threat out there. I'm here to be the best friend, the little brother. Like, any person I see, I'm like, oh my gosh, you like ranch? I love ranch. Like, you like bacon? Me too, right here, let's go. But I think to get to the merge at 8, 7, or 6, like to find an idol, to play correctly, to be able to mislead somebody to voting the wrong way, to lie, to deceive, like that's how a good player becomes a great player. Parvati, Rob, Tony, like these people did not waver in their gameplay. Like they had it, and they had a game plan going in. Parvati in Micronesia, she was like, oh, I'm gonna get this girls alliance, and I'm gonna ride it to the end. So I think like for me, that's how you go from like good to great to like the best.
Yeah, it's Yopo, right? It's this attitude of like make the best of the time you have now. It'd be great if you get another one, but like don't guarantee that, you know. Make use of the investments you have in the moment, and then if something pops into your bank account, if interest gets accrued, that's great. Yeah.
Also like Liz in 46, I mean she had this grand story to tell during Final Town Council, but she never got the opportunity to use to say it because she got voted out during Fire, or she didn't make Fire. So I think for me, like, you can have a great story, you can have a great game. If you're not there at the end to tell it, there's no point in doing all these things. Like, you're here to make it to Final Tribal Council. So in the beginning, I'm okay with not playing that flashy. In my head, I'm like, okay, what's the strategy? The strategy is to survive with the numbers going in, with the people that you trust going into the merge. So as long as I can do that, then I can really unleash it during the post-merge and at the very end of the game.
It'll be as unruly as your hair probably at that point.
Yeah, I just feel bad because like I'm trying to look as like clueless as possible. Like even like when people are like reading, I'm just staring into space. I'm like they're just like
they're gonna think you're some sort of like robot.
Yeah, and I'm like good. Yeah, and I'm like people know like I spend a long time in the bathroom trying to get my hair ready, like my skin ready, and I'm like, this is good. I want them to think that I'm a clueless idiot who just came out here to look good on the beach, and that's good. That's all I want them to think I am, and that's hopefully will be good.